Hello, and welcome back to Harlan is in Danger. I'm your host, Mitch, although some of you might know me as Leroy, and today I'm joined, as always, with my good friend and co-host, Tomm.
Hello, I'm also here. I've actually been thinking about this. I also have a screen name, and I'm realizing as I become more and more of an internet citizen, maybe I should be saying some of you might know me as Saving628496. That's kind of a mouthful, so I think I'll just be Tomm. Never mind. Forget I said anything.
It's so funny because I've been trying to phase mine out, and I just was in the habit, and so I just said it, I guess. But I've kind of come to the decision of just being like, I mean, the Leroy name was meant to be a joke in the first place, and now I don't think it's a funny joke anymore. So I'm kind of done with it.
Oh, well. Welcome, everyone. Today we are doing our Forgotten Age retrospective and doing a little bit of a sort of a channel update as well. But we're just going to start with Forgotten Age and talking about how sad it made us.
Yeah.
Should we just let's start with like the last scenario, because we were talking about this the other day, how we kind of like switched sides. Like you kind of took on my role of being encouraging towards the end there and saying like, look, it's the furthest we've made it in a finale. But yeah, no, that was brutal. And like I think in that same conversation I was saying like I don't think like anything that happened was any of our faults. Like there might have been a couple misplays going back through the videos, but like seeing those 3 -5s in a row just trying to evade a snake man and seeing like the stupid strange geometries or whatever they're called. They're not strange geometries. What are they called in this one? The little treacheries that come out of the encounter deck that are like, move here and there's a clue here.
Oh. So that was a misplay on my part. I think I should have canceled. Like I should have not canceled. There was something that came up that I canceled, and I should have waited until that one that moved you away popped up, and then canceled that. I didn't quite think in the immediacy like how damaging that was going to be because it sent you like all the way around, and then you had to evade the boss because you couldn't take any damage.
Yeah,
that's actually the one thing I did want to mention about this campaign that I learned was that. The trauma, everyone's like, oh, like the trauma is no big deal. No, trauma is a big deal. It is a huge deal because the problem is you can't just operate, like you start off going like, oh, well, I can't take any risks. Right. I can't take any chances. I have nothing to protect myself. Right. So I have to just hope for the best. And then you're in this like recovery right when this scenario begins. And then there's just, I think like 1 or 2 trauma is like, okay. But once you get to the point where you have, because you had like 4, I think, out of your 5 health, didn't you? So it was a lot.
I had like 2 physical trauma and 3 mental trauma or something. I don't want to look it up. It was a pretty insane thing to be like, well, if I get this word of protection off, I could play it, but also I would take a horror, and that's actually a serious consideration for me right now. Yeah. I don't know. That was wild. I think like to kind of like I was like, okay, I got to play a Rite of Seeking so I can get clues because if we don't get clues, we'll die. And then I like in that first Mythos phase, we're like, holy shit, I might just die.
Yeah, and like that's the other thing too. Like, so it might have been a bit of a misplay on my part to not like cover that specific treachery, but like it should be recoverable. You should be afforded a couple of misplays here or there. I think just in a general play on standard difficulty that should be a thing. But in this case, it was just like, oh, you made a misplay. That's it. It's over for you. Here's -5s up the wazoo.
Yeah.
And it was like,
move. Yeah. The -5 train really was hard for me to. That was like I think the first time that I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die, and I don't know what you're gonna do without me because I can't evade this snake man. He's going to kill. This
is the first time we actually switched places too, where I did become optimistic, and you were like, no, it's hopeless. And then I was just like, I'm just gonna invade these bosses repeatedly every turn and just hang out.
Yeah,
and that's fun.
I think there was a moment where I was like, wow, you did nothing but evade things this turn. You were like, no, I killed a snake guy. I was like, wow, I'm being the asshole. What's going on? You have hope. Why am I taking away your hope?
Yeah. a part of that is definitely like the starting investigators are not nearly as competent as the later ones, I feel. With the exception of Roland and Wendy, I think they're very strong. And then probably, well, I wouldn't even say Rex, because I did take Rex through Carcosa, and I got brutally murdered with that guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was, and I was taboo free, I think. So I just bought cheap Pathfinders and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, because like the difference I felt from playing Leo with Taboo to get a gun that actually worked, and like the amount of effort I had to put in just to get the XP so I could get my gun and then be functional.
Oh, let's talk about Leo. Yeah.
I was just like, this is such a steep slope. I can't. And then I switched over to Stella, and I didn't need any XP. I was like, I'm fine. I'll just use survival cards and win the game.
I'll just survive. Yeah. Leo was. I love Leo as a character. I don't like every time I play him in Forgotten Age because I'm like, yeah, he's like the expedition leader. We'll play him through Forgotten Age. I'm so disappointed. he's like, there's some.
I'm sorry to add to that.
I don't know.
You're not even denying it.
No, I don't know. It's just like poor Leo. He deserves some more like agility or something. But I guess like that's fine. I don't know what I could do to fix him, honestly. Like, because he seems like he's like trying to do two things, where he's trying to be like the big gun guy and also the ally guy, because he kind of needs both to work. And then his deck slots get so tight. Yeah. And I really liked the deck that you had built for him. The strange taboo gun aside, that we got wrong and then looked up and then you died and we were like, well, we finally figured out how to play it, but like, yeah, it was just like, oh man, that was tough. It was tough to like see that deck do the thing that it was supposed to do and then like just have that taken away from us because they were elite enemies at another location, or like I had to engage them and potentially get shot by this gun, or yeah,
it made a whole another realm of complications to what it was supposed to do.
Yeah,
I don't know. And the other thing with Leo is like his ability is just too weak. It's just way too weak. Like you get to play an ally at -1 resource cost, and then it's like a free action, but it's timed in a very specific way.
Yeah.
If it was a free trigger, so I could just do it during my turn, just or at any point, really, that would be great. I could just maybe, and then maybe it just is like a 2 resource discount because I'm in Rogue, so that way I can like really heft up some cash to pay. Because I did have a number of instances where I'm like, oh, well, I don't have quite enough, and I have to wait, and like that shouldn't really be the thing. He also needs more ally slots, so then he needs copies of charisma. He just like he has needs. He has so many needs.
He's very needy.
Yeah, it's just too much. I mean, I do think In the Thick of It was a really good card for him, especially because you could take that, grab a couple of trauma, and pick up start with a copy of charisma. That will help tremendously. And the trauma is not as big a deal in Neo because you have allies on the table who can soak damage and horror for you. But that was another problem, is that because we had the agony thing, I ended up switching to allies who had 2/2 or 3/3 and nothing else. Because I was like, otherwise they just die instantly.
Oh man, I actually really like agony as an ultimatum. That actually is one positive I'll take out of this. I was like really happy with the way that made me think about playing this game. But yeah, it wasn't. It was just another nerf for Leo, I guess. So.
I saw it as a fun deck building challenge because then I took out the guard dogs, which would have been helpful, but I was like, okay, let's just stick with the cat burglar and the what was it, venturer.
Yeah,
they probably had beat cops in there as well.
Yeah,
right. It's been so long ago because I just crashed and burned in that bonus episode with Tyler.
That bonus episode with Tyler. Oh, we all got wiped out. We all died.
I had the oval, so I guess I was asking for it. But like, what was I supposed to do? I was like, I need XP. I'm dying here.
Yeah, and we just didn't have a good start too. Like that was the other thing because I was not ready to get clues. I guess that was my deck. I still remember that episode where I was just like, we're at the place with clues. I just can't get them. All I have is Drawn to the Flame. I'm just gonna use Drawn to the Flame.
Yeah. I remember when we initially were talking about being all excited to go into Forgotten Age, and we're like, I love the -5. And then after this campaign, I definitely don't love the -5 anymore. I loved it last time we played through. Because last time we played through, I basically would kill every single token except -5 and autofill.
Mhm.
And it would happen like just enough to where it added like a good degree of tension. But this time it just felt like it came up way more, and there was so many tests where I couldn't boost my skill value any higher, and I was like, well, I guess I'll just have to take it, and then it would be like a 0, you fail. And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of times this campaign where I like would account for the -5 and then I'd draw a +1 or a 0.
There was a lot of that.
There was a lot of that. That was just kind of like, great. I guess I should have remembered that I'm just as likely to draw a +1 as I am a -5. It just doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Enough lows though. What about some highs? What were some good moments of this campaign for you?
I really liked playing Stella. I had a lot of fun with her. I think she's a really fun investigator. Like, when I read her character card, she seemed kind of boring because it's like you just get your action back for failing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, well, that doesn't really incentivize much. And then you're basically a tank. I was like, why does she need so much health and sanity? And then now, having played her, I've come around a lot, and now she's really fun, and I can't wait to play her again.
Yeah.
Because basically, like, you're looking to force a failure in like specific ways, just so you can get your action back and trigger all your fail things, and so you undo the damages that would have been done by it.
Mm-hmm.
So that part's cool. And then you also don't, like, you can decide how you're going to soak. Like, if you're going to throw soak on the table, then yeah, you can absorb everything that gets thrown around.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, you can still do that, which that was kind of crazy when,
Yeah.
and at the end there, I took like hits from the bosses, and then I was pulling the Elder Sign through all those evade tests, and then I was healing the damage of horror off because I would just get my action back.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm gonna fail. Yeah, I'll just fail. It's fine.
Yeah, and then I'll just heal, and then it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And then I took another hit, so that was pretty cool. I definitely was happy with Stella. I think it was like double-sided though, right? On the one hand, I was really like happy to play her, and I was really pleased with what came out as a result of that. But I was like a little bummed that it was such a disparity between her and my Leo deck.
Yeah.
I was like, this is like the tier is way off for these two characters. Like, there should be more of a, and it's why I keep playing Survivor, especially with progression. Like, the card pool is really limited. I mean, it's nice every now and then to get a flavor for what it's like for people going through, like, basically when it was at release. I mean, I played Forgotten Age pretty early, but I did have a 4-player team, so it wasn't nearly as hard as this was. Like, this was the toughest run I've had through TFA for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I did think we meshed pretty well. Like, I did think we had some good content, if I could venture to say that, because I liked that Safina and Leo would like sabotage each other and then pass around different encounter cards and be like, oh, well, that one's for you. Oh, wait a minute, no, I want that one. Oh, okay. And then we would like exchange encounter cards. That was a lot of fun. And then when it came around to Stella, like, it was just Safina's abusive friend, and that was pretty funny too.
I feel like this was like the first time in a deck that I've really just embraced the rogue mentality of like, no, this is your problem. And like, I never got like, I kept like waiting for the other shoe to drop and for like that to come around and haunt me, and you'd be like, no, I don't want to take this, but you're always just like, no, I got it, I'll survive. Like, there was a moment, I think, what's it, Depths of Yoth or something, where I was just like, I'm just gonna leave. You're sure you're okay with that? And you're like, yeah, I'm a survivor. And you did. We got another depth level down. Like, you evaded everything and like made it there, and I was like, I was looking for a way to get out of here by myself, but hey.
Yeah, pulling through those wins, that was really cool.
Yeah. So it was cool to watch Stella do that. Yeah,
I was pretty impressed with your Safina deck as well. I will admittedly enough, the last like especially in City of Archives, I was like, probably gonna have to get a new deck, I'm sure, at some point. It just felt like Safina was gonna die somewhere, and I wouldn't be able to protect her just from like a bad token draw, or like on the crumbling whatever it is in Depths of Yoth, where you can fall to your death. I was like, oh man, if she goes down, I even managed to get clues, but like not like quite fast enough or consistently enough. It was like just barely enough to keep us going. So I could like get us through an act card, and then that would be like a little bit. So I did need that extra cluer, but yeah, I did. I was happy with the bow too. It was definitely slow, but the 3 damage was nice, and I could use it almost always to take out what I wanted, like in a single hit. Or there was always some way to use it in a very efficient manner that would just be like, okay, that's one problem down.
Yeah.
So I was actually pretty happy with the bow. I thought it performed pretty well. I know it's a little slow, but it was a good time. I love the bow. It's a fun card.
It's a fun weapon, yeah. And it's nice, too. Like, I think it's really good in the Forgotten Age, too, because, like, you get those Curse of Yigs, and you're like, I'm a fighter. I have to deal with this. I have to get rid of my fist or get my fist back up. And then for you, it was like, nah, I attack with agility. I don't care. I'll just have 1 less health, which doesn't matter because I'm still and just heal myself.
Right.
So, yeah. And that was cool. I liked seeing the bow happen. I liked that kind of just became like, all right, we're just going to like have you knock an arrow just in case we draw a snake. Oh, a snake. That snake's dead. Cool.
Yeah.
Moving on. Yeah. Yeah. Oof. We've been at Forgotten Age for a while too, haven't we?
What now?
We've been playing this campaign for a while, I think in real lifetime.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that everybody's not super privy to is there was actually like multiple times when like our footage got corrupted or something would happen that would interrupt when we were recording, and then we would have to go and re-record.
Yeah.
And so that happened like in a campaign that was already like 9 scenarios long, that made it like 11. So it was like, oof, this is pushing up to 2 campaigns.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure it happened to us at least twice.
I think it was
footage got corrupted.
I think it was 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. And then we had like the stupid audio problems as well in like the first half as well that we just were like, well, we can't keep going back and re-recording this. Don't know what's going on. But yeah. Oh, hi Dutch. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, so that made it 12 scenarios, which is like a campaign and a half. And I mean, in terms of actual sit down and playing, because we would play, and it wasn't like we were playing for 5 minutes and then it got corrupted. It would be the whole like 2.5 hour endeavor, and then it was just like kaboom. Like, I mean, the most notorious one was City of Archives. We got through that, got through it. We died, but then like the footage was so corrupted you couldn't discern anything that we were saying. So it was a mess. We were like, we can't salvage this. But we were already like, it was so much whiplash because like we were like, wait a minute, we're dead, that's it. And then like
we lost.
Like, you're like, also the footage is corrupted. And I was like, wait, the footage is corrupted, so are we still playing or not? I can't with this game.
Yeah. So I guess there's a disclaimer on this whole regression challenge. I guess technically we did die in City of Archives. We just couldn't show it.
But like,
we couldn't show it, yeah.
Yeah, so we have to. Like, otherwise you guys would have seen like a blank screen.
And there was even like that moment in City of Archives where I tried to engineer our defeat. Just so it was canon, but we passed and it was fine, so.
Like, I must preserve the canon.
I must. Oh, you would have been pissed.
Yeah, I don't know. I was only half kidding when I said that, like, because you wanted to like try that extra move at the end, and I was like, "Oh man,
that's great
because of this move." I mean, that was a really memorable moment, though. I'm probably not going to forget that either. And that's the always thing. That's the thing you have to remember about Forgotten Age is you always get really memorable scenes. That happened in our first campaign as well.
Yeah,
in fact, that was the first like long campaign we played together. We were just like, "Hey, you want to play Arkham?" And we were like, "Yeah, I like Arkham. You like Arkham. Let's try a campaign together." And so we were learning Octagon, and we went through Forgotten Age because that was our favorite. And it was a very similar scenario like that, which occurred at the end. Do you want me to get into it?
Yeah, let's because we'd done like we were at the secret ending, right?
Yeah.
We got
you were Rita, and I was Mandy.
Mandy, that's right, yeah. And like Yig was there, and he was almost dead. And I was like, you just gotta punch him.
I was like, I have one punch. I cannot punch this snake. But it was just like in a movie where like, I believe in you. And I was like, I'm a researcher. I can't do that.
And like, yeah, I think
Yes, you can.
you had like, what is it? It wasn't like a. It was like a. You were like, I can commit like 1 to this. I have like the card that you look at the top 6 cards and draw one. What's that card called? Discovery.
Oh, I don't remember it, but yeah, it's like
No Stone Unturned or whatever. Yeah, it was like a 1 wild icon.
Yeah.
And I was like, threw a brute force at you, and then somehow you succeeded by 2. I don't really remember what you drew, but it was like.
So here's like, let me back up a little bit. You played because you were beating up Yig, and then you were like, okay, here's the thing. I don't have any more actions left. And at some point during your turn, oh yeah, that's right. It wasn't during your turn. It was through the Mythos phase. So in Mythos, you drew my the stars are right.
That's right. That's right. Oh, this was so good.
And used your action to go to your discard pile and tutor up the lucky level 3.
That's so right. That's what it was. Okay, yeah. Oh my god.
So that's why you told me, because then you spent your whole turn just punching Yig, and then afterwards you were like, okay, I need you to punch him. And I was like, but we have to do like 2 damage, and I can't even do, like, how's this going to work? And then you committed the brute force, then I punched him, and I got like a -1 or something, and then you played lucky, which gave me like another.
It was just enough to like do the 2 damage or whatever.
But like literally everything had to come together. It was like
the stars had to be right.
Variables had to like match.
Yeah, that was great. That was a good time.
Yeah, I laughed so hard. I was crying from that. It was so funny. I just could not believe that we could beat that campaign in such glorious fashion. But I mean, that's why it's such a special one, I think, is it does create those moments. And I don't know how it does, but it definitely can do that.
Yeah, it's a tense campaign. Yeah. Okay. Well, we should move on to a couple other things. So the big thing, and I think we mentioned this in the last video, is that we are going to be taking a brief hiatus from Arkham videos for a while. I think we decided 4 weeks. Is that right?
Well, 4 weeks is going to be our hiatus from the channel in its entirety.
Right.
But we are going to have a replacement game coming up because Arkham is getting to be a little mean and a little stressful. And when we sit down to record, it's like it's got to be at least like 2.5 to 3 hours, like every single time, because each scenario is just that long and intense. And yeah, like we're getting a little burnt from playing our guts out. So we're gonna play something that's a little less, like a little bit of a palate cleanser. And so we're actually gonna be playing the Lord of the Rings, the card game. So this is what the progression challenge is actually based off of. It comes from the Lord of the Rings card game. And we're not going to do any like special rules or conditions to it. There's no stipulations. It's just going to be playing Lord of the Rings progression. And we're thinking we'll kind of alternate between Lord of the Rings and Arkham. So that way we get a little bit of a break and we don't tire ourselves out so much.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings is a lot faster. It's a lot, I don't want to say simpler, but there's not quite so many like the scenarios don't carry on into these elaborate monstrosities. That a lot of them can be more self-contained, and so that way we can still have content on the channel, and it gives us a chance to work on some other things.
Yeah, which we do have a few other things going on in the background. I know you. I linked this in the last video as well, but you're working on your Oscarinas stuff, and that's wrapping up next. Wait.
This weekend, yeah.
Weekend. So last weekend. When we're recording this video, or when this video comes out, right? That's the math I was trying to do. So
I see. Yes. So everything is done as of now, you watching this video, but it has not happened to me in my personhood yet. So that's very cerebral.
Yeah.
But yes. So we have other projects going on in the background. Is the other reason why we're doing a little bit of a hiatus, so we can devote some time to that. One of which is the Oscarinas, which is an award show that I created just this year. And so we'll have a link to the channel in the description. And basically, it's for video games, and we're looking for artistic connoisseur games. That's kind of the theme of it. And one of the big things with award ceremonies is that they don't usually convey their reasons for things. It just seems sort of arbitrary and like majority wins kind of thing. And so I'm keeping the list of voters like really, really, really small. And then we meet and we actually like discuss and explain like why we think something is deserving over another. And then there's a full breakdown for all the games that are nominated this year up on the channel as well. And so we sit down and we have a conversation and go through those arguments. I'm trying to make everything as transparent as humanly possible, so that way you feel like, okay, like I can actually see the justification there. Because that's the whole thing with award ceremonies. Like, it never ceases to amaze me every time I ask people, like, oh, like, do you like the Oscars? And they're like, I hate the Oscars. I'm like, well, what's your favorite movie? And then they're like, Gladiator, Lord of the Rings, American Beauty. I'm like, yeah, okay. You must hate the Oscars. All Best Picture winners.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the main thing is, like, just being able to see those reasons. So it's currently retro games right now. And so we're going through the years 1990 and 1991. We're taking two and putting them together as one season. That way, at some point, we can catch up with the rest of the world. So if you're curious to check that out, that would be awesome. We'd love to have some feedback on it. The winners should be announced by the time you watch this video. If they're not, it just means I'm tinkering with the video to edit it together, so that way it's nice before it launches. But it's supposed to be come out before the end of October. And yeah, and then that way it's like archived too. So if you don't want to know the spoilers yet, you can just start at the beginning and just kind of see all the nominees, hear all the arguments before you get to that final video.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so that's what's going up.
Well, I was going to say, actually, and Tom is going to be a part of it next season.
I am. Not, Tom? You are getting this on video. I'm actually... Well, okay, so I am probably. The other reason, one of my big things that's going on, and one of the reasons we're taking a hiatus, is I'm getting married in, Christ, 7 months. So I have to do a lot of planning for that big old dumb party that's happening at that time, and making sure I can afford it and all that jazz too. So that's taking a lot of my mental capacity right now, and kind of one of the reasons I think I actually even came to you at this time and said, hey, I need like a little hiatus after we finish Forgotten Age, because oh man, my brain. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. And then I also have a couple other little tiny things, Arkham related things going on in the background. I want to start putting together some of the slideshows for the beginning of videos that show like what cards are just getting added to our pools for Arkham, and then start putting together slideshows that are more along lines with like the story card pricing, so we just have more of those videos coming out, because we ran out of those because we stopped recording them. So and then I also have another little Arkham related project that I'm working on, and Mitch is helping me with, so look forward to that. That's a secret though. I'm not going to tell anyone about it right now. So
Yeah, so just because we're not playing Arkham in progression for a little bit, it doesn't mean it's not on our mind. We are working on it. It's just a lot of other balls in the air. We're both very creative people, and so we have lots of things we like to work on.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of, I do have one other project I want to mention. So I have my own YouTube channel, which is just my name, Mitchell Kopich, and I'll put a link also in this description of this video as well. And I started it about 5 or so years ago. And I had some trouble getting my footing. I was talking about games and books and sort of doing different types of video formats. And I'm not super happy with a lot of my old content, but at the end of it, I did sort of figure out what I wanted to do with it. And I've just been making excuses for all this time to not do it. And so the Oscarinas, that coming into fruition, my friends being like, oh yeah, that was so fun, let's do that again. I was like, well, if we're going to do it, this is the format we're going to do it in. Then it occurred to me that like, oh yeah, like sometimes like I like to do those long form commentary videos where I just take a game and I just pick apart every single detail about it. It's just a nice kind of way to relax and just really enjoy something to the fullest. And so currently I made a commentary on Castlevania 4 on the Super Nintendo, which was one of the big contenders this year at the Oscarinas. And so I'm kind of doing those as a supplementary material with the Oscarina channel. And surprisingly enough, that video has done pretty well for itself. I'm at 200 views last time I checked, which is way more than I anticipated having, because I only have like 30-something subscribers. So I don't know how it circulated, but I guess it did. So that's been cool. And that's kind of inspired me to make more. So if you want to head over to my channel and check out the commentary, if you're into that kind of thing, then I suppose I recommend. And also you can look forward to more. And I was going to do, let's say, one a year, but now I'm thinking I'll try to squeeze out some time to do a few more. So just because it seems like it's a cool space to examine. I love retro games. I mean, especially like the Super Nintendo. That's my favorite game console. And so it's been nice to kind of like revisit all those old classics and do these kind of dissertations on them. So yeah, if you're interested, I'd be more than happy if you check it out.
Yeah. Great. All right. Yeah, perfect. I think we only have one more thing on our list that we need to talk about for this video, and that's how we
Yes.
will be coming back to Arkham and what happened and what our resolutions were from Forgotten Age and where they're leading us. And that is a drum roll, please. Delaying. We're going to Dream Eaters. So that's where we're happy.
Yes.
What's happening next? Because we lost, we're going to Dream Eaters, which comes with a couple of things. So since Leo Anderson had, I think it was like the compass or something. Was it a compass when he died? I don't remember what it was.
The pocket knife.
Pocket knife when he died. We have decided that we as players still had that supplies even though the characters didn't. So we are going to get the Yithian, body of a Yithian investigator that we kind of did our little design thingy on a couple weeks ago, and kind of released that video. So that's going to be added to our pool of investigators. Then,
and that's because we want to play with some of the new stuff we're making for the progression challenge. And the progression challenge is a little overly mean.
It's a little mean.
So we're going to we are going to give the progression challenge an auto fail and say, we can have this.
We can have this, yeah. Which, I mean, like, whatever. It's fine. We want to play with the thing, yeah.
And this is also, like, something that, and, like, legitimately, this is how it should be done anyways, because when we were playing through Carcosa, I remember us being both really confused over, like, who had the special, like, strange solution card. It was like, is it a statue character, investigator, player? So now we kind of have a clearer vision of, like, okay, this is for, like, the players, and then you can associate with an investigator at that point. But then it kind of, like, returns back to the player, so to speak. So, because, like, our XP is tied to the player, right? That's how we're able to buy new cards, unlockables, new characters. So that's how that one is going to work. But so we're doing Dream Eaters, and one of the fun things about it is that Tom and I have a very different viewpoint on the difficulty of Dream Eaters. I think, and I know that I'm right in this, and that the Dream side is way harder than the Awake side. I think the Awake side is like good campaign, and the Dream side is like, oh. So
it's just wrong. You're just wrong on that. The dream side's so much easier. Like in the first scenario, you just don't draw encounter cards for half the game, and that's
you draw nothing but ancient evils.
One ancient evil a turn. Yeah, so like you draw half an ancient evil each when you're playing in 2-player. That's manageable.
Yeah, so nevertheless, how we're going to do this is that we've decided that each of us are experts on a different half of it. So this is really ultimately for the best. So Tom is going to choose both investigators for the Dream side, and he will give me a deck and an investigator to play on that side. I think we'll probably sit down and figure out which of the two pairings we're going to do in advance, and I'm sure we'll probably collaborate to some extent on that. But then once it's decided, and then I will create the Awake side team.
Yeah.
And so I will take the two investigators, build the decks, and be like, okay, here's what you're going to play for this. And then I'll be lead investigator for that side, and Tom, you will be lead investigator for the Dream side.
Right.
So,
and then we'll also be switching off recording as well. So Dream side will be, you'll be seeing my hand in the recordings, and Wake side, you'll be seeing Mitch's.
Right. So, and that's also something we might be doing for the future as well. We were trying to stick it so that it would be, one person, if you're a lead investigator, you kind of manage the recording and everything for the whole campaign. But we might actually deviate from that going forward and just do like half and half. We're not entirely sure how that's going to pan out. We're going to try it for Dream Eaters anyways. And I imagine it's going to go over pretty well just because it is a co-op channel. Like we both co-host the show. And so we're always sharing kind of the work involved.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's one other thing that's actually carrying over from Forgotten Age that I know you don't want to talk about. It's snakes.
Oh, no.
It's snakes.
I don't want to talk about the snakes.
Yeah, we made Yig too mad. So he's going to send snakes.
No. You.
So he's going to send some snakes. And so what is it? It's Poison, Yig's Fury, Yig's Venom, and then Agents of Yig are the 3 tiers. I don't remember what, like...
Yeah.
What they come
Depending
in.
on how much fury you have, you get more snaky things in the campaign.
But some of those sets are going to replace one of the Agents of Encounter sets in Dream Eaters. So there's two. There's Agents of Valachnacha, and there's Agents of the other one, the other bad guy. Who's the other bad guy? What's this?
Nyarlathotep?
Nyarlathotep. Yeah. So there's two Agents of sets in that campaign,
Okay.
and we're just going to replace one of them with snakes. So it'll probably be spiders. So we'll probably not have spiders and Grey Weavers. We'll probably.
I think it should be the dream side because that was your fault.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of fair. So I can deal with that. Whichever one breaks the game least, I guess, is also the thing, right? Like.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I think the Agents of Nyarlathotep might be treacheries more than like enemies, so that might be the other thing. So you may have to be the one accounting for snakes and Dream Eaters. Sorry.
The other way we could do it is maybe we just make it one scenario on both sides of the campaign. And then we can choose maybe. So that way I'll just like pick a scenario out of the campaign to deal with snakes. And then I'll be like, okay, that's the one we're going to have the snake problem. And then the rest we won't worry about it. And we'll just do the spiders. I think that's probably more fair.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
I just came up with that just now. So
yeah, that was good. Good job. You came up with a lie. I think that might be what we end up doing. So cool. Yeah, and that's going to be coming out. So because of how long it's because of our hiatus and because of the Lord of the Rings, that'll be coming out in the new year. So that'll be like first thing 2024. Wake up New Year's morning, if that's on a Tuesday, and you can watch your
You'll wake up or you'll go to sleep.
Go to sleep New Year's Day and wake up the next day.
And then there'll be
more Arkham.
And then you wake up.
Yeah, okay, great. I feel like we've lost this a little bit, but that's good.
But yeah, so that'll be the new year. And so for going forward for the rest of the year, we're just going to be playing Lord of the Rings for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we're just going to be doing the core set and going forward. And we'll probably include the Oath scenarios as well, the limited run that they re-released at Fantasy Flight. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's everything we have to talk about today. And we're just under 40 minutes, so maybe we should start wrapping it up and
let us know some feedback for how we're doing. I know, like, for the progression challenge, the kind of the downside about taking breaks from it is that it means that for people who are already playing in progression challenge, you want to know like our thoughts on like pricing cards and stuff. That information like takes time for us to get there because we actually have to play the campaign for us to have like our concentrated thoughts on it. So I do apologize for that, but at the same time, like, it's also kind of like savoring it as well. Like, I kind of like the idea of not like ending progression challenge and like, oh, we got to do it in like 6 months. It's like, no, I kind of like to kind of enjoy, and I am enjoying it. I mean, as hard as it was, I just need a breather, and then I can go back to enjoying it.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, so I guess in that case, that's all our thoughts. Please let us know. Yeah, I agree. Let us know any feedback. Let us know if there's things that you want us to do as well. You want our thoughts on. We'll listen and make those adjustments. If you can figure out how we can put Lord of the Rings cards in Arkham, that'd be kind of cool. But other than that, we'll see you in a few weeks, and until then,
Out of danger.
Yay.